Hold on, there's an airplane going over his head. We're right in the flight path to a National Guard place, so we have big-ass helicopters going over sometimes, like the dual rotary ones that...
Ooh, where you feel like you're in the beginning of a zombie apocalypse movie.
Yeah, and you can feel it in your nether regions when it flies over.
And this is Patriarchs.
So I was with my kid at the New England Air Museum, and we did an overnight with the Scouts. We can talk about the Scouts another time. I know. But there we are. And we were sleeping under airplanes on the concrete, which was its own thing. But even then, my kid he's 10 years old, and I don't understand why my kids can't slow the fuck down. Whenever we have a cultural experience that I, of course, force feed to them, and they do begrudgingly, they just are incapable of just walking around and absorbing the stuff around them. I have the most un-Zen-like children on the entire planet. And even my 10-year-old, here's these massive planes and jets and helicopters, and there's these old guys who are volunteers who are like showing you how the helicopter works, and you can get in and move the pedals and move the stuff around and whatnot. And yet still, my kid, A, just wanted to run outside and play soccer, and B, could not just like stand and gawk at it all. And I just wonder, when are they ever going to slow the fuck down?
43?
That's
what I'm slowing down, and I'm 43.
Were you able to, I don't know. I mean, yes, a 10-year-old, do they want to be in a museum? Are they going to read the panels? Are they going to whatever? I don't know. I was interested in history, though, sort of, wasn't I?
I mean, I don't think so. I remember that feeling as a kid, just being like, I want to move. I don't want to sit here and do all these things. And then as I got older, looking back and being like, now I want to do those things. And maybe it's just like those things aren't meant for people with that level of brain.
And should we force them? My mom forced me to walk through museums when I was a kid, and I hated it. So why am I inflicting the same torture on my own kids, right? But like, if he doesn't, I don't know, learn something about Vietnam era helicopters because we're there in the museum, like, what is he ever going to learn? He's not going to learn it from YouTube, is he? It's so tough. I mean, I've got family overseas, actually. They're adoptive family in France. And they're always like, oh, our French granddaughter is contemplative and she stares at the leaves and she thinks big thoughts. And I'm like, is that because she's French? I mean, do they put something in their breast milk that the kids are more philosophical in France and that I have 2 chickens running around with their heads cut off all the time? I wish they would slow down and be contemplative and Frenchy philosophical, but it's a constant struggle, you know?
But you know that when that happens, you're immediately going to be like, oh, I miss when you would just run around and you were off the walls. You know what I miss?
What?
Everyone not being sick in my house.
Oh, you're still sick?
No, but here's the thing. Everyone is sick all the time, and then when everyone is not sick, one person kind of goes... out of the corner. And then I'm like, oh no.
I'm going to punch you in the face.
So we all just, as you all know, we all just went through butt strep last month. And
yes, I've told that story to so many people. Everybody in Connecticut knows about butt strep.
I've gotten too many texts being like, butt strep. So I know we have a lot of listeners because I'm getting a lot of texts. But everyone was healthy. Everyone was at the end of their antibiotics. Everyone was healthy. My daughter she had 2 pink eyes throughout this whole time. And then the other morning, she fucking wakes up and her eye is all goopy. And I'm like, no. Because what is my first thought? The health of my daughter? No. It's that she would have to miss daycare. That is literally my first thought.
Burning money and you're going to be stuck home with her or you're going to have to get a babysitter. Yes.
And so what I learned was, what I tried to do when one kid was sick was try to keep that kid away from other kids so not everyone gets sick.
I mean, they are children of COVID, so of course you know how to isolate, quarantine.
But what I learned is that you fucking can't, because when you're holding her walking down the stairs, like this morning, she will sneeze directly into your eyeballs. She will just sneeze right into your open eyes. So there's no way. I'm trying to keep their bottles away from each other. They each have sippy cups. I'm like, this is your sippy cup and this is your sippy cup. Immediately, all they want is the other's sippy cup. And so I think what I've learned is when one kid is sick, everyone get together and just sneeze on each other right away.
Yeah,
Let's just
get it
all
over
get
with.
sick together, because what happens is one kid gets sick, and then on the tail end of their sickness, the next kid gets sick, and then my husband gets sick, and now everyone has stretched this week-long illness into a month. So here's the trick. Everyone just sneeze into each other's mouths the first day. Everyone gets sick for a couple days, but that's been what's going on in our house, is that keeping kids apart doesn't work.
This definitely does remind me of I'm the king of dating myself in this, but we used to have chickenpox parties in my neighborhood growing up, and you know somebody gets it, and then they send all the other kids over, and you rip that Band-Aid off as fast as you possibly can. So
absolutely, and then you ride the big old timey bicycle with a big front wheel and a tiny back wheel, and and then the last thing I want to say in our follow up before we move on to our topics is like 5 episodes ago, I had mentioned something about a underwear catalog that was really slutty when I was a kid. Remember we were talking with the military dads?
I remember.
And I could not think about it. I couldn't think what the name was. And I got a text this morning from one of our listeners / previous guests, Justin Gomlat Greer, and he said it was called International Male.
Yes,
do you remember that catalog? That catalog was so slutty. Oh my God. It was an underwear catalog for men, but every one of the photos was like a sheer white fabric where you could clearly see this dick in these underwears. And that was the hottest porn I had ever seen in my life.
You do have to wonder the marketing scheme behind that. I mean, it must have been gay men behind it, and they were doing a service to the rest of the country. You know, I mean, this was activism through journalism, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fredericks of Hollywood, though, that's they circulated around my dorm, I remember, in college. And I mean, they had some pretty slutty men in those, like, you know, pages 16 and 17. And it was a truncated version, but oof, there was some international mail going on in Fredericks of Hollywood for sure. Hey, David, let's talk about poop, shall we?
Well, I mean, we do that a lot on this podcast.
So so as I've been lamenting and talking about probably too much, even though I'm trying to limit it a little bit, I've been solo dad for a while, and that means all of the cleaning is on my shoulders. I wish that I could say I task it to my kids, but I mean, ultimately I forget to ask them, and so I just do it myself, right? Cleaning a toilet reminds me of every single time, like, for instance, our previous guest, Ellen, I think I can imitate her by saying, Ellen Marsh saying, boys are disgusting. Right? Our toilets, I don't understand what I do, what my kid, what my son does. Like, I don't understand what a mess we make, right? But if you, for instance, I was wiping a bit of toilet paper down on the floor around the base of the toilet, and I'm like, how is this so multicolored? I don't understand what has run down there, right? I mean, I know we pee all over the place. We pee all over the walls. It splashes everywhere. It's dripping around the bowl. We are fucking disgusting.
This is a great advertisement for parenting. Like, come join us. Your entire bathroom will be covered in piss.
And you'll be reminded that you, as a man, are a disgusting person as well. And I'm trying to teach my son, of course, to pee and lift up the seat when he pees. Jesus. I
try to do like some people do Cheerios or whatever. I've been trying, because my son will just pee in whatever position he wants, and it just shoots up into the sky. I've been trying to point to the hole, you know, like the base of the toilet. Yes. And he sometimes does that, but sometimes he's like looking up in the air. Of
course he is.
Yeah. It is disgusting.
I mean, I was, when I first got to the city in the 1953, 1954, I was working at a restaurant, and I had a really funny manager there who said, I don't know what you boys do in that bathroom, but why does the men's room smell so much worse than the women's room, right? And she had a secret that she read somewhere, I don't know, it was Pinterest circa 1953, that if you put a glass of espresso beans behind the toilet, it would actually mitigate the smell a little bit. But I remember having to clean like late at night or early before our shifts had started or whatever, and I happened to, you know, I have to peek into the women's room as part of my responsibilities. And I'm like, it really does not smell in here. Like, how on earth does a public women's restroom not smell like a men's room does? I don't understand it. What
I got to assume at times it does. I got to assume at times the women's room is filled with just putrid smells. But maybe women are just better than men.
I mean, there's a lot of strong arguments to be made for that. So then going down the toilet talk also, I sometimes feel like such a prude when I feel like there are times to rip a fart and there are times not to rip a fart, right? Like, Yes, Nana's funeral is not a great time to let one rip, but I was reading Harry Potter the other night. We were all cozy, my son and I, just laying in his bed and reading Harry Potter, and my daughter was listening on the floor. She's like, oh, I missed this from a couple of years ago. And I'm like, and then Harry, who knows, whatever, Voldemort, Harry. And suddenly we hear, and I'm like, did you have to do it right when I was, in a sweet part of Harry Potter? And she's like, I can't help it. I'm like,
were you more mad that your performance was interrupted? That you feel like you were carrying this like emotional journey for the audience?
Yes. Yes, it was an interruption. That's what it was. And I feel like, am I obnoxious thinking that there is a time to rip it, but maybe in the middle of Harry Potter when we're calming down for the night is not the time to rip it? I know. I'm insufferable. What do you think?
I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like, yes, don't. There are some times, but also like kids at this age are just fucking all they want, which is still how I am, is a laugh. A laugh at any cost. A laugh at any cost. So I got like my son is the same way. Like the amount of times he says butthole just because he knows it'll get a laugh from me is obscene. So yeah, I got to give it to the kids. Like they're just there for the comedy.
My daughter says shart incessantly. That's all we hear. I've probably talked about this already and I've forgotten because I hear it so much. I'm forgetting that I'm talking about it so much, but I'm so tired of hearing shart. But when did I become such a prude? Embrace the farts and the sharts, I suppose.
With that, why don't we move on to our top 3 list?
Finally.
Okay, so this week, our top 3 list is top 3 baby drag names. And instead of me going, I'm going to pinch hit, which is a sports reference, I think, right? Is that about baseball?
I've been pinched something, I guess.
Yeah, sure, I'm going to pinch it off. And I'm actually going to bunt to my husband, Brian, who is going to be our special guest this week and do the top 3 baby drag names because he is a punster and this is his entire life. So take it away, Brian. What are your top 3 baby drag names?
Welcome, Brian.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. All right, so I had a million of these, and I had to narrow it down to 3 because that's the rule. So
maybe someday when we have show notes, we'll list your other 999,000 of them.
Yes, I'll give you all the rejects. But in the great tradition of drag, I started with a lot of female performers, and from my references, you'll see I'm 1,000 years old. So
welcome to the club.
Number 3, baby drag queen name, Drooly Andrews.
I'm hearing these for the first time too, by the way.
I like it.
Number 2, in a similar vein, Doris Daycare.
Oh God!
All right, my number 1, which is a totally different approach. Number 1, baby drag queen name, Erin Fection.
Oh, that was really good.
That was a little good.
That was good, Brian.
That was excellent.
You came out. You scored a home run to further David's terrible metaphors here, but
sports ball,
fantastic.
Am I right?
Yeah, something like that.
Thank you, Brian. That is Brian's top 3 baby drag names, and it's up to you now, Gavin. What's your top 3 baby drag names?
I don't know that this is a natural talent of mine, but I did come up with a few that I thought if I were a baby drag queen, I wouldn't be embarrassed to be named these. Number 3, Creamy Spit Uppa.
Okay.
Creamy Spit Uppa is my number 3. Number 2 is Bebeonce.
That's a good one.
And finally, at number 1, my number 1 diarrhea.
Ooh, that's a good one. When I was trying to come up with my own, I thought Lady Goo Goo instead of Lady Gaga. But yeah, okay, that was a good list. All right, what is next week's list?
Next week, we're going to talk about the 3 top things that your child has done inadvertently that were wildly inappropriate. Father's Day was just a couple of days ago.
2 days ago? 3 days ago?
How sweet was your Father's Day, David?
Well, first of all, gay guys get fucking shafted on Father's Day. Gavin just spit out his Franzia. Gay guys get fucking shafted.
Shafted? And not in the good. I mean, obviously, not in the good way.
There's 2 dads.
Yeah.
There's nobody else.
No.
So, like, who is the parent that is helping the kids or creating the fun day for the dad when both are dads? So what it ends up being is a Sunday. That's all it ends up
Now,
being.
unless, hey, if one of the grandparents or some bestie wants to come along and be like, I'm going to take your kids away from you. And then you think,
heaven.
Oh, but wait, it's Father's Day. I really want to be with my kid. And I mean, it's just otherwise, it's just another day with dishes, but on a different day on the calendar.
We tried to do something fun. We got a babysitter and we went to go to this open house. And then
you
we were going to go get a massage. And we went to the massage place and they were like, we're full. And we were like, okay, we're going to go to a cute coffee shop and we're going to get some like, baked goods and hang out. And then they were closed. And then so we walked to Dunkin' Donuts and we had bad cold brew in a basically empty Dunkin' Donuts, and then we went home. That was my Father's Day.
This is gay America in a nutshell.
This is the gay agenda. Yeah. What about you? How was your Father's Day?
This is exactly what the Don't Say Gay folks in Florida want it to be. They want you to suffer just the way that they are suffering with the spas closed. There's no cute coffee. Just get your Dunkin' and go. Your $8 cold brew that's watered down anyway and go home. Well, you know what? I mean, I definitely woke up once again, as I usually do, with far too high of expectations, thinking, it's going to be magically a day that I didn't plan. And shit, I gotta think how it started. Well, let me tell you, it didn't start with breakfast in bed because my children were like, we're gonna burn the toast and make bad eggs for you, which I would have appreciated. And by the way, I did that for my mom on Mother's Day when I was a kid. So why can't somebody do that for me when I was? Yeah, but Gavin,
that was the 20s, and that was more of the culture of the 20s.
Because there was literally nothing else to do except burn the toast. Because what else? I mean, that was TikTok. It was TikTok. It was burn toast and do a dance to it, and you certainly didn't throw it away because it was the Great Depression. But ultimately, I do have to say, my partner got to have a day to himself, which was really great. And he was making some music. He's an orchestrator, and he was under deadline to get some music done. And so he just disappeared into his office. Now, listen, in the moment, I'm not going to lie, I was not happy about that. But at the same time, you know what I did to retaliate? I was like, I'm going to pour a really strong Bloody Mary and go read a book, which in the grand scheme of things, that was a pretty perfect Father's Day too. Like multiple Bloody Marys and reading a book and kind of just saying to my kids, fuck off. And they did and whatever. But the overall feeling is like, your expectations for Father's Day and for Mother's Day, I've now verified with several mom friends who are like, it is just nonsense that we think this is going to be such a glorious day just straight out of a Pottery Barn catalog. And like so much of life, you got to be less planned and lower your expectations and impulsive, because otherwise the planning just sucks.
I will say that one of my favorite parts is the attention I get from just like the texts and emails and stuff of like, it is nice to kind of people saying like Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
But it is a strange thing. I am very happy to be a father.
100%.
It still doesn't quite feel real. It feels like a part I'm playing, but it is cool to
And you're like the understudy? Like, did you were you the first choice, do you think?
No, I had been on the first national tour, and then they called me and they were like, you're a little old, but come on in. And can you do this last weekend of Wichita and then just get us through?
Right.
No, but I do love being a dad, but Father's Day, also the pressure of it. It's
yes.
just like, let's just
the expectation. And everybody, so many people asking, did you have a great day? And you're like, I mean, I don't know, between this and that one day I spent one time on a roller coaster, I mean, this was like a solid 3.5. But my 3.5 isn't a bad thing. It's just like, what the fuck with the expectations,
and
right?
3.5 is normal in some countries. So you're right.
What are you talking about? In my country, 3.5 is like, that's better than a 2. So that's really low. Let's say 6.5. But
Gavin wasn't picking up my dick joke metaphor there. But he jumped right on that 3.5.
I sure did, and it barely registered.
Anyway, happy Father's Day, Gavin.
Happy every day is Father's Day to you, David.
All right, our guest today is someone I almost lit on fire once. True story. She is a mom and an actress, an educator, an advocate, and now she's the CEO of Stage a Change, which works to support access to the arts for people of color in Australia. She is an American living in Australia, but really, she's an American living in my heart.
Oh,
Please
that's
give
so
a
cute.
big Gatriarch's welcome to Cessalee Stoval.
Cessalee!
Hi.
Hey!
That's a real story. We were in my apartment at Florida State University where you and I met.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I was spraying hairspray and lighting it on fire. Why was I doing that?
Because you were in college.
Because I had this really bad habit in college of falling asleep all the time. Like, we would go out to clubs and I would fall asleep on a speaker or something. And you and Walter got the brilliant idea that because I had fallen asleep on your couch, you knew how you were going to fix it and wake me up. And you lit my mustache on fire. Thank you. That was my first laser hair removal. Thank you.
Wait.
First of all, I challenge some of those details. However, what the fuck was wrong with me that even wanted to try to light hairspray on fire near a human in a small apartment on campus? I don't know.
They say education is wasted on the young, and that is clear that you were a waste of space at FSU.
Also, my other particular memory of you and I in Florida State is the hairspray incident, and also one time I called you and I couldn't find, nobody would go tanning with me. I wanted to like lay by the pool and go tanning, and I called you and I was like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "Nothing." I was like, "Will you go tanning with me?" And you're like, "No." And I was like, "Cessalee, why?" And you're like, "Because I'm black, David." I will never forget you screaming at me, "Because I'm black, David." I was like, "Fuck, yeah."
Wow, you are too. Diversity at its finest.
I mean, Dorsey at its finest. So, Cessalee, you are my friend, but you are here because you're also a parent. And specifically, you are an international parent right now, which I think is super interesting. We have a lot of friends who are international parents or going to be international parents. And so tell me how you got from where you are now, or how you got to where you are now, which is in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, so I toured with Book of Mormon for about 3.5 years. And then when they were opening the Australian company, I was like, have a passport, will travel, looking for a boy toy for my time there. Mm-hmm. So I came to Australia thinking I'd be here for 14 months. And the boy that I was dating at the time forgot my birthday. So I got back on the apps and met this dude named Scott the day after my birthday. And lo and behold, 6.5 years later, me, Scott, and a baby are still kicking it.
Nice.
Yes. And you got yourself a little local Australian too.
I did.
What's hilarious is that like so your daughter Alula, when she first started talking, I remember seeing a video of her talking and me being like, "Oh my God, she has an Australian accent." And my brain couldn't understand it. I was like, "But why would she have an Australian accent?" And then I'm like, "Because she's fucking growing up in Australia, David," which is hilarious. Is it weird to hear your daughter speak with an Australian accent?
Yeah, I think it's weird, especially because as she started talking, we were in the middle of COVID. So we were pretty much locked down together, and she sounded like me, I thought, until I started letting other people talk to her, and they were, well, not letting her, whatever, she talks to who she wants to, she's her own woman, but until people started responding she has an accent. I'm like, no she doesn't, and then Peppa Pig would be on downstairs and I'd be like, wait, I literally don't know if that's Susie Sheep or my daughter talking right now. That's how I figured it out.
That is amazing. I mean, obviously your husband is Australian, but you have I would imagine she heard you in the womb, and you would have thought that she would have absorbed a little bit of an American accent. I mean, do Australians think that she speaks weirdly? Does she have an American tinge?
This is the thing is she's got this hybrid thing. I'm she actually kind of sounds like South African or something because she loves British kid TV shows. Then she's got Australian and me as an American speaking. I
mean,
to her.
those are the ingredients for South African. I mean, literally, yeah.
Hardcore. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
Because I know a lot of kids, I have a friend whose dad has kind of a British Cockney accent and mom is American, and she can turn it on and off. She can, when she's talking to dad, speak in a British accent. When she's talking to mom, speak in an American accent.
Yeah, Lula is equally manipulative, but she is learning to, she's learning to speak our vernacular. So she'll say to me, "Mom, can I have a banana?" And she'll be like, "Dad, can I have a banana?" And it's why didn't you just say banana? She's tricking us. She knows how to get what she wants from me and from dad. She's a little too smart.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, she, like you said, she's her own woman and she's super smart. So good for her. She's going to get what she wants in life. That's good. And what does Alula mean? Is that an Australian indigenous name?
No, it's a star. There's an Alula australis and an Alula borealis, so we like that it's a star that exists in both hemispheres. And it also means like a broken wing of a bird. And both of our moms like birds. We didn't know the broken wing part, but thought it was kind of cool. It was like birdish.
So you have 35 passport stamps. Is that true?
37, and I'm really upset that I don't have 40 because I wanted 40 before I turned 40. But like, COVID was and then kids, ugh.
They ruin everything.
Oh, they just ruin everything.
Has Alula traveled a lot with you? And how many passport stamps does she have?
Okay, can we just talk about this bougie baby for just 1 second? Yes, we've gone back and forth. She went to the States at like 5 months, and then our borders in Australia were shut down for like 2 years, and we went back kind of 3 times in 8 months. But now when we travel somewhere like to Sydney, somewhere that's local, she gets in the security lane and she's like, "Mom, did you bring my passport? Do we have my passport?"
Wow.
I'm like, "Girl, no. We're going to the Gold Coast.
Relax.
Calm down."
We're going to the Walmart of Australia. Relax.
We're literally going to Orlando wannabe. Like, girl, be cool. But yes, so she loves traveling. She loves planes, which is great. But also, like, I realize that I've started a very expensive habit way too young.
Yeah. Talk about entitlement for this bougie traveled baby. So can you tell us some of the differences between American parents and Australian parents?
You know, I think like, okay, to get like real, in Australia, it's pretty much commonplace that you would, especially for your first child, like you're definitely not going back to work within 6 months. You're probably not going back for a year, but legally they have to hold your job for up to 2 years. So there's not the same like, oh my God, I need to get everything. My child has to be able to do everything in 6 weeks because I have to go back to work energy here that there's there, which means like sleep training is like kind of frowned upon because it's like, whatever, who cares? I don't have to work. You know, there's not a rush to potty train because, you know, there's not so much, you know, you must be able to do this because, you know, you have to be able to go to daycare. You know, there's not that kind of energy around kids being expected to do things. But also that means like if your kid is just kind of being a shit wherever they go, it's like, oh, that's fine. They're such a clever kid. It's like, no, they're an asshole. I want them to stop screaming, you know, like.
That's so interesting to think about sleep training as a reaction to getting back to work. I never considered that because we were so very pro sleep training. We were very pro sleep training the second we could do it
for your own
I never
sanity.
thought about that as a reaction but a reaction toward like because I have to go to work because I have other things to do versus like I ain't got shit to do. Let's sleep till noon.
Yeah, wow. It's funny, like little things like that. But one of, I think, the greatest things about parenting out here is when you have a kid, they put you in what they probably in a very soon to change gender norm term, but they give you a mother's group. And your mother's group is basically because every other mother is off at around somewhere between like 4 and like 7 or 8 weeks, depending on when your baby's born. They put you in a group of people who have also just had babies who live within like a mile radius of you. So everyone is going to these meetings and you're like, oh my God, my baby is so loud during the night. And everyone's like, yeah, mine too. You know, like just so like it kind of normalizes that process of all the things like, oh, our projectile vomit turned from orange to yellow. Is that normal? Oh yeah, that just means you got a little extra mucus. I don't know. You know, like just all that stuff is so normal and you get people who are going through the same thing.
Are you saying that the Australian government forces Facebook groups upon your neighborhood so that you have to socialize? Even if you're like, yes, I need a support group, but really what I need to do is just, I don't know, go take a nap. But you have forced socialization. That's fascinating.
Gavin, you've turned this beautiful thing into something
What
pretty
if you
dark.
hate everybody in the group? What if you're like, I live in a neighborhood that does not reflect me, and I fucking hate everybody around me? And
Gavin,
also
you have
their
some
kids are
things to
assholes.
work through right now. You have some things you need to work on, I think.
I mean, I may think that this is a very interesting juxtaposition of the Australian mentality that kind of feels sometimes nanny statism when you're on the outside, but actually has some really great comforts from the inside. Because, yes, they tell you what the group is that you're going to be in, but you don't have to go. Like, you can just say, I don't want a mother's group, or you can say, I don't like these people. I want to go to mother's group that starts in 4 weeks instead of this one. But there is so much energy given to parental care, and you get this goodie bag
awesome.
of all of nappies and toys, and every library has an open session for your kid. They're just really invested in giving you something to do as a new parent that's not sitting in your house being like, oh my god, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. Which is
That's awesome.
For those of you at home can't see, she was doing the hands of choking. She was shaking her hands in front of her like she was going to choke a baby, which
Very relatable.
I think they say you're not supposed to do.
But maybe not in
sure.
Australia. Maybe in Australia it's different, though.
But you, Cessalee, you used that kind of knowledge of how they treat parents, and you created something very special that I am a part of, which is this Marco Polo group. And for those of you who don't know, Marco Polo is just this app where you can kind of send videos back and forth, either in groups or to one-on-one. And you started it with, there's I think 5 of us in the group total, and had all just had kids, I think within 3 months of each other. All of our kids are pretty close. I think you have the oldest and I have the youngest. And everyone knew everyone else by one person, but most of us didn't know the rest of us. And we, to this day, almost 4 years later, are still on this app. And it has been invaluable for exactly the reasons you're saying. When at 6 weeks, I'm like, guys, I wanted to throw my baby out the window last night. Am I a bad dad? What do I do? And everyone pops on. They're like, no, I felt the same way. Here's a way and especially with teething. I mean, the other day, right? Heather came on and she was like, guys, teething, I don't remember what do you do? Do we freeze washcloths? And just to have a safe space, A, to complain, which is basically this podcast, but B, other parents going through the same thing that maybe could give you a tip or trick was fucking invaluable and so great. And so I still haven't met the other people on that app. I've never met any of those people, but I feel like they're my family now because of this thing. So I thank you for making that. And a great thing for anybody out there who is going to have a baby for the first time is get around other people who are having babies for the first time so you guys can all panic together.
Yeah, literally, that's what it is. Group panicking, I feel like, and wine. Those are the things that you need for a mother's group.
And so essentially, Australia gave you a mother's group, and you gave a mother's group that's international to David and a bunch of people who don't know each other. Look at you.
I mean, I like to think that I'm an international trendsetter, but thank you for bringing that out in the public. I really appreciate that.
What can either of you recall the funniest or most inappropriate or the most galling thing that you saw on your Marco Polo group?
I mean, we talk about everything pretty graphically. I don't know how much we've seen because it's so hard to be recording a video and talking while something horrible is happening. But we've definitely, I mean, I don't know of anything we haven't said to each other. I remember one time we were talking about penises and foreskins. Are you supposed to pull it back? Are you supposed to clean it? And one of the parents was like, I'm pulling it back, but they're crying. And I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to do that. And we were this, just videos and videos of adults talking about children's foreskin was pretty gross. But again, I don't have a foreskin and she didn't, her husband didn't. And we were just kind of fumbling and trying to figure out, and just to have this safe space to fumble is pretty great. That was pretty weird. I don't know. What are you thinking, Cessalee?
Yeah, that was a really great conversation. I also feel like when we were talking kind of a lot about just poop colors, I'm definitely certain that I shared at least
Poop
one
colors.
video on the early days of poop colors and this is what Alula's poop looks like right now. Have you ever seen anything like this? Or this large or this watery,
Definitely, I remember you showing us a video of the toilet, and they're like a man size, like an adult man size poop, and you're like, my 3-year-old daughter just created that by herself. I do remember that video.
It was like an ice cream cone. It was I couldn't believe it.
And also, we also we've had, I won't go into specifics, but we've had loss in the group. We've had different abilities, some darker things that have happened to people in the group that like I bet it's been nice to have somebody to be like, guys, here's what's happening. Here's all the gross parts. Here's all the great parts. I just need to kind of get that out. And that's been great too.
And the beauty is like, we all are very supportive of each other, but also we're not all in the day-to-day of each other's lives. And so it does feel like a space that's like people who don't necessarily have to then also see your husband or your partner or whatever, and you can complain about what they've done, and you don't have to worry about them hating them too much because they're probably not going to hang out on the weekends.
It does seem like an objective kvetching community. That's we probably all need more of those, frankly.
But it's all part of the thing, right? This is why we talk about on the podcast all the time. It's like if you don't allow yourself to be whole, then you're just stifling yourself, and it's going to come out in different ways.
Yeah.
And so to have those safe spaces is great. Cessalee, moving on to your professional life, like what is Stage a Change?
So Stage a Change is a company that I started here in Australia in 2017. When I came, like I said, I came with Mormon, and there were about 11 cast members who were brought over from the U.S. 9 of us were Black, the Black African villagers. 2 of the actors were the 2 principals, the 2 leads. And there was this really big, like, outcry, like, what? Like, we have actors here who could play those 2 leads. And people were so mad, and we were like, well, are you guys, like, also mad about the rest of us? And they're like, no, babe. We don't have Black people here. Like, we don't have them. You're fine. And I was like, this seems like it might be a problem. So originally I started the company because there was this sort of like assumption that there weren't actors of color here, and further assumption that the actors of color who were here, because they hadn't had, lots of reps on stage, that they couldn't possibly have done 8 shows a week, that they couldn't possibly be, doing these big main stage commercial Broadway shows, that they had to import artists of color. And it was sort of at the same time that Aladdin was happening here, Mormon was happening, and then Beautiful was happening as well. But with Beautiful, they made a very conscious decision to have an all-Australian cast. But for, the Drifters and the Shirelles, who were playing these historically Black people, and nothing against the people who were cast and hired, they did the job they were hired to do. But, it was Asian, South Asian, Fijian, lots of other identities other than Black, because it wasn't here. So then the question became, well, is it more important to have authentic representation of identity when it's important, or is it more important to cast Australian and not import actors is what they call it. So anyway, that's really what the company was started about, and questions that we were starting to answer. We've been around now for about 6 years, have just turned into a not-for-profit, and now we work much wider in not only the performing arts sector, but also the wider art sector, and look at how we can create access for artists of color to opportunities and then sustain and uplift those opportunities. So doing a lot of DEI work and supporting institutions that are looking at ways to be more inclusive for the human beings that have historically not been welcomed into their organizations or practices or on their stages.
That's fascinating. And have you been able to build out the community greatly of Indigenous Australians as well, and bringing them into the theatrical Australian world?
Yeah. I mean, I certainly don't think that I myself have ushered people in. I wouldn't give myself as much credit for that, but I do think there is a really big conversation that happens in Australia about First Nations people that's different than the way that Indigenous communities are looked at and represented worldwide. I mean, Indigenous, Aboriginal, and Torres Strait Islander people are the oldest continuous living culture in the world, like hands down. So it's pretty cool that they have so much content and storytelling and community and history and tradition, but also not to get like super heady, but like the Stolen generation has left a lot of people who identify as First Nations or Indigenous with, Stolen generation is basically when they took Indigenous people out of their families and said, here, go live with white people. So you've got a lot of people who are white passing or don't look like they are ethnic or diverse or racially diverse, who have been historically told to hide that part of their identity so that they could fit into the community. So there's a big piece of uncovering and creating space for identity to belong, no matter what it looks like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. What a fantastic opportunity and great timing for you to be there and foster change. It's fantastic.
This is also just like complete porn for Gavin. You're just talking about just everything he loves. Just
David's like, can we get back to talking about actual porn rather than Gavin's porn, which is
speaking
sincerity.
of porn,
Yes.
you are also an intimacy coordinator. I want you to tell us
segue.
what that is. Like, what is an intimacy coordinator?
Yeah. So I usually describe it as similarly to when you watch a fight scene and you know that all of the fighting is choreographed so that people are safe. I do the same thing for anything that's intimate, which includes anything that is obviously like simulated sex, sexual violence, but also things like familial touch. So a parent that's holding a baby, or a mother who's seen as breastfeeding or childbirth or elderly care, anything that has any kind of touch that probably wouldn't be what you would do with that human being if you saw them in the grocery store is what I help with, and supporting the choreography of what that movement looks like, but also the well-being of the artists that have to perform it, have to receive it, the crew that has to observe it as well, and then looking at what the director's vision is for that, and making sure that we're working within the boundaries of the actor to deliver the story in a way that feels safe for all parties involved.
Oh, I am so glad that this position exists now, because as a director, I have had to direct many scenes of intimacy, violence, that kind of stuff. And I can do it, but I think about you coming in and being a partner with me in that, and me kind of talking about my broad artistic vision and you being able to choreograph, but also for the actors to feel like they have a point person to feel safe with, to kind of have those hushed, quiet, embarrassed conversations that aren't maybe in front of me or the whole team. I see the value in that. I remember, this is not the same, but tangentially, I saw a play one time where all the actors were naked, and the play was a lot about sex. And it was a very small theater, and I felt very uncomfortable. But there was a scene I remember where one of the actors, his anatomy kicked into gear when he clearly did not want it, and he was struggling to continue the scene and hide all the things because he was fully naked sitting in a chair.
Oh my God.
And I was thinking, oh my God, this boy is probably wanting to just die right now. Yeah.
Cessalee, can you help men who feel that their adolescence coming through in awkward times like math class to help them go back down?
I love the way that you phrased that. We do have lots of tips and tricks for when someone is playing.
Really?
Like, not necessarily to immediately cease an erection or a flush of blood, but to, particularly if they're in clothes, like things that we can put inside to cover or hide or protect. Mm-hmm. If we're doing a simulated sex scene, especially. But if we're performing, if we're doing like a film or something, and someone has an erection, like that's my job then to say, cut, go to the director, hey, we've got to stop for a second, take that actor to a safe place so that they can do what they need to do, and then we can come back and shoot, as opposed to like everybody being like, I think he's, I can't tell if he's, like that kind of stuff. Like,
and Cessalee, what do they need to do?
This conversation has gone exactly in the direction it was supposed to. I was not expecting it, but yes. So anyway, what do they need to do, Cessalee? Think about dead puppies or off themselves.
Wow.
Well, honestly,
wow, Gavin, that was a real dark turn. Those are dark options. I want to just point out.
I mean, like some people may feel that what I have learned is that every erection is different, and so
they're like snowflakes. They're like stars in the sky. Yeah.
How beautiful! How beautiful! Like the Australis and the Borealis. No, but some people may feel like they need to go and relieve themselves, and that's actually the fastest way to solve that problem. Some people may feel like, no, I just need 2 minutes to myself. I know what I need to think about. Some people may need some exercises to minimize the vagal nerve response, and we can take them through some breathing exercises. Some people just are so embarrassed they just want to be alone and talk about anything other than that. So everybody's kind of different. And that's the thing about my job is like,
just like every erection is different, every person's different.
Thank you. But
in all seriousness, like as a director, I am so happy that this role now exists, and I hope it sticks around forever, because it is just like having a choreographer, like having a fight captain. It's just a smart move, especially because in my experience, when you're directing something, having the trust of your actors and the comfort of your actors only gives the best performance. And having somebody like you that they can trust and feel embarrassed in a safe space with is exactly what you would need to get a scene like that to where it needs to go. Because not every scene is just making out in love and I love you. Some of them are, like you said, violent or dark, where you need a little bit of kind of a feeling of safety. So I very much appreciate. So everybody go out there and hire Cessalee for their intimacy coordination.
But I definitely could have used your services when I was in 8th grade playing Vince Fontaine in Grease. And I had to stand during the dance scene in Grease and make out with Marty Maraschino, who was played by a senior in high school. It was mortifying beyond my imagination. I had to do it in front of my mom, in front of all these people.
Oh my God.
But I got to say, I learned how to make out with the best of them. It was, I learned a lot. But my God, it was mortifying. Fucking mortifying.
Oh, 8th grade. That's hard.
And with a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling that's statutory in certain places. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
So, Cessalee, do you ever want to come back to the U.S.? What does the future look like for you and your family and your daughter?
I mean, look, but be really real. COVID was super hard. In Australia, we shut like all the way down. You couldn't go out. You couldn't have people come in. Immediate family was allowed to come and visit, but parents weren't considered immediate family. So I went 2 years without seeing my mom, and like we are hella close. So that was really hard. And being an only child and knowing for sure that this is my only child, I can't imagine that I'm able to keep my mother and my child separate any longer. I feel some responsibility for that. So I imagine we'll come back to the States at least for a couple of years, probably in the sooner rather than later future, just because it's like, when am I going to screw up my child's life? Am I going to take her from her best friend when she's 4, or am I going to take her from her best friend when she's like 12? How am I going to, where am I going to screw this up? So I feel like younger is better. So yeah, I imagine there is a move probably within the calendar year.
Okay.
Oh, that's exciting. We get to see
Yeah.
re-interview and re-chat when you're back on this side, and you can say, oh my God, America's so much better. Let me tell you why.
I mean, I was going to say, like, I'm legit scared, like, just a little bit of, like, what happens when my kid is an asshole in a restaurant, and I'm like, oh, sorry, that's just how we do it in Australia. And they'll be like, bitch, you're not Australian. Get with it.
You're an American now, and you're like, oh Lord, here we go.
Yeah, we've got some things going on here too. Some things that definitely affect the parents all over the place. So,
well, Cessalee Stovall, thank you so much for joining us on Gatriarchs and demeaning yourself by doing this interview.
Truly.
We appreciate it. And you can go to bed now because it's midnight where you live.
A little bit.
It's midnight tomorrow. What's the future look like? Quickly.
It's still here, and
Good.
there's still wine, so we're good.
So something great happened recently, even though it's not Pride Month anymore. I was at a Starbucks near us, and we aren't exactly in Rehoboth Beach, Provincetown, or San Francisco, but one of the baristas was still putting little rainbow stickers on every single one of the drinks, just spreading prideful joy all around the southeast coast of Connecticut, and that was something great this week.
So my something great is going to trump your something great. Sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Gatriarchs just had a boy. It's
That's
a boy,
right.
Mrs. Walker.
We have a boy.
We are so excited. We have our first intern joining us, and his name is Timothy. Say hi, Timothy.
Hello.
Timothy!
We are so excited to have Timothy. He's in Massachusetts, but he's our new intern. So if anything amazing happens online with Gatriarchs, it's totally him. If anything terrible happens, it's Gavin. So just know that that's how that works. But we're so excited to have you.
I was going to frame that joke differently, but Timothy, how would you have framed that joke?
Maybe shift the blame to David.
Always.
See,
Thank
he's
you.
only been here for a week, but guys, he's starting to really figure it out. Super excited to have you.
Timothy, thank you. What do you think so far in your couple of weeks here at the Gatriarchs Funhouse?
I think it's quite fun and funny, and I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. That was the correct answer.
Totally.
Yes, you win. You get the correct answer. Well, we're so excited to have you here. And that is my something great. And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments for Timothy, you can email us at gatriarchspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at Gatriarchs Podcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere. And Gavin recently joined the internet age at Gavin Lodge on everywhere else.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll be smacking you later on another episode of Gatriarchs.
Thank you for staying after the episode. My husband had some reject baby names he wanted to present. So go ahead, Brian.
Okay, I couldn't narrow it down to just 3, so here are the other ones. Angela Bassinet. Lady Goo Goo.
I did that one.
Did that one already? All right. BB Shark. These two are similar. I got Kryza Manelli.
Nice.
And Barbara Streisand. Crawley Parton.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
International, I've got Pram Anderson. Baby Neworth. Patty Cakes.
Mm-hmm.
And Share Ya Toys. And then one bonus drag king name, Teethan Sondheim.
Wow. So this is the man I married.
I'm sorry for who I am.